Diabetics. Some of you may have been diabetics, been off diabetes medicines, but might not know whether it comes back. Certainly we know it's possible for it to come back. So there is some screening out there, and I encourage you to take part of it. The other thing I want to do is make sure as you go through the expo hall, everybody have their pedometer on? I have mine right here. I'm trying to show you that. Everybody got their pedometer? So we're doing this virtual march to Washington, D.C. And as part of that, we're going to count all of our steps on the way to Washington, D.C. If you want some more information about it, look at page 19 in your program book. We'll talk with you about it. To let you know, right now, remember we left Orlando, Florida. Right now we're in Savannah, Georgia. So we've already gone 254 miles, well on our way to Washington, D.C. I also want to welcome our live stream audience, and I want to thank Covidian, who's provided the support so that we can beam this out to thousands of people across the United States who unfortunately couldn't be here with us this morning. Now, I would love to give a great introduction like this morning, but I almost blew my voice out, so I might have to tone down a little bit. And it's hard because our next speaker is just one of my favorite people in the world. Every time I see her, she brings a smile to my face. She's a trained psychotherapist, and that's where her background is. But she's way, way, way more than a psychotherapist. She's also a certified personal trainer. She's Tai Chi specialist, all these other things, tactical fitness, boot camp. So not only will she kick your butt, then she'll ask you how you feel about it. I love me some vitamin M. She's been a speaker for us for a number of years, always well received, a great friend, a brilliant speaker, and I hope you'll take to heart what she has to say. Please help me welcome Meryl Littleberry.
Hello. I feel like I want to do a little bit of movement, but I don't have that kind of rhythm. So you got to do the best you can of what you got, right? I'm going to tell you, I had a really hard time putting together this presentation. And people that know me know I just don't have that. And so when you do this for a living and you do it and you tell people, hey, I'm kind of struggling, they're like, oh, you'll get over it. I'm like, no, I'm being serious. So I try to talk to my girlfriends. I say, I'm just really having a hard time pulling this together. You guys don't realize the magnitude of the people that come here, what they desire, what they need, that they're coming here to get something, and I can't see it. And so one of my girlfriends, a really good girlfriend, she said, well, I could imagine that you're scared because you realize public speaking is the #1 fear in the world. So now you're my #2 best friend. So when we think about that by being up here with the lights and knowing that we have this wonderful mainstream audience out there, I had to think, am I afraid? And if I'm afraid, what exactly am I afraid of? And then I realized, boo, this has nothing to do with you. It is about everybody out there. It is about the people that are coming to see you speak and hope that they leave with something. So first of all, let me give a great appreciation to the OAC being able to do this every year for you guys, the things that you don't see that they do to make sure that you guys leave here stronger than you came. And so today my topic is vision is vital. And what I realized is that's what I lost, the vision. And immediately when I came up here, I said, dang, I'm going to do a whole new presentation. So whatever I had in my head to begin with is about to change so that you guys leave with something that you didn't come in with. So the first thing I'm going to do is some housekeeping rules, because whenever I talk about vision and challenging falsely acquired thoughts, the first thing that I end up having a problem with is what people actually believe to be true. How do we get these thoughts? And so let's get an understanding of some definitions first. And the first thing I would like to talk about is vision. What is it? What is vision? Vision is you being able to see something and believe that it might come to pass. When patients come to see me, most of them are not court-ordered, so there's 3 things that I look for. Most are not court-ordered. Desire, capacity, and vision. If they're not court order and they're in my office, I know that they have the desire to change. That I can't give somebody. I can't give you desire to change. That will come from your chi, right here, that energy source. Capacity. We can always increase our capacity. But how do we do that? By being at things like this. Hearing about research, hearing about change, listening to the people around you and their stories that are true, that you can touch and they're tangible. Then people say, well, what's the difference between vision and a goal? Well, let's talk about that. What is a goal and why is it different? I must be going backwards. A goal is what you put your energy in. It is something that you are looking at ahead of you that you are going to put effort towards. You need a vision. So then you can direct your goal and your energy. Because I will tell you, I have people that don't have vision, and they put a whole lot of energy into being miserable. People don't like hearing about that, but where are you putting your energy? It's not harder to be happier. It's not harder to be healthier. It just means you have to change your focus and your vision. It requires the same amount of energy. You just get a completely different result. And so when I talk about goals, I start hearing people tell me, oh, well, I've done that, I've been there, and all those things, and then the F word starts flying all around. You know, that F word I'm talking about, right? We hear it all the time. And so the other thing that I want to make sure you guys understand, we have a preconceived understanding of what failure is, and it is not what it was meant to be. Failure is the omission of trying. Anybody in this room deciding to come out here to Florida, pay this money to be out here and expose yourself, you do not qualify. The day you decide to accept that this is the way life is and it won't change, that's a different story. Failure is the omission of trying. You being here, you do not qualify. You have decided to change what the majority of the population in the U.S. have accepted. A couple years ago, if you're a healthy BMI, you are now the minority in the USA. We want to be healthy. And so we have to figure out what is it that we need to do that will create health. How do I become healthy? How do I become happy? And what does that mean to me? Because if I asked a question to each and every one of you, each and every one of you would give me a different answer. So it is what it is to you. And so one of the things I had to really focus on was, what was my vision? What was it I was going to try to do? Because I had lost my target. And so the thing that I remember in studies and research, and I can pop up a bunch of research things for you guys because everything I do is based on research and other stuff just on being goofy. But what I want you to do in this moment, because I realized I had lost focus on a lot of things that were really important, and I had to figure out, how do I get back to that place? How do I get back to that place where I felt balanced and I was bubbly and I had joy coming from my pores? We come up here, and any one of you sitting in those seats, any one of you, if you find that place in you, you go from the seats to the stand. And sometimes we come up here, and I think it looks like we didn't go through anything, so sometimes people think we haven't experienced anything. I'll tell you, that's a really good cosmetic. That's all that is. Because the exposure that I had to go through to get to where I am today, to talk to you guys about the struggles that I had to make sure that you don't have to go down the same path, was worth the fight. So I had to think about, how do I get this to make a memorable, mindful moment for you? And so what I'm asking you to do is, based on research, one of the things they talk about is mindfulness. People are the most happy when they are mindful. Mindful means right now, other than social tweeting on whatever we're doing, all those awesome opportunities we have to get you guys out there familiar with what we're doing, I need you to be mindful. Mindful means you and me are sharing the same moment right now. I need you to think about who's next to you. What are you feeling? Being appreciative that you're breathing. Maybe you're a little bit cold, you're warm, but I need you here with me right now. I need you to see me, I want you to feel me, and I'm going to explain and pull this all together and explain why that is so important to me. I need you guys to think about a number. I know it's an odd number, but $16,534. I'm going to give you a couple seconds, and I want you to be extremely mindful. We're right here. If you had that, I want you to now spend it in your head. Spent, done. How could this improve your life? Is there any, that's not good. Is there any way that you could spend this and it would improve your life? It would improve somebody else's life. We'd pay off a debt. We'd pay off our car. We could go on another trip. We could pay for some treatment. Anybody not spent that yet? 3 times over. This is a really important number to me. You know why? That's how many days I've been alive. And if I had $1 for every day that I've been alive, I wanted you to be mindful enough to know that if whatever I have done and experienced in my life, if I could give that to you today, this is where it would result. Do you see how quick we spent that? So I want you to be mindful, because my life and my experiences, I hope to better yours. I want you to think about how many days you've been alive. Because then I did the second thing. I said, based on our life expectancy, how many more days do I have to live? And if I can't come up here and find a way in life to improve the life of others, then what's the point? Find your purpose. That's what I lost. I was wondering why I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel happy because I lost my vision. Being happy is just a side effect. It's a symptom of making sure you have purpose. And you will find your purpose before we are done today. I'm going to give you tools to find your purpose. So when you are mindful and you're in the moment, guess what can't happen? You don't stick all of those falsely acquired thoughts, all those automatic negative thoughts. They can't happen when you are mindful and you are in the moment. And that's where joy erupts. And so what I'm going to ask you today is, how do we start that? That's what I had to do. I had to interrupt and redirect, kind of like that GPS system on your car. I ran into a couple car accidents this year, metaphorically speaking. I wasn't going to allow my GPS system to say, boop, 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 you are now about to self-destruct. But instead, it interrupted, it redirected, and it still got me to my destination, which was here with you guys today. And so how do we find that joy? How do we find that happiness? And I went on this whole tangent about vision and all these visuals, and people say, I don't have visuals. Yeah, you do. Because I ended up having one when I told my friend, I went on a peeing spree. A pee, and I'm like, no, not that visual, like the letter P. Because all of a sudden I said, what was I missing? See, you visualize, you have vision. It's just getting in control of it. And so how do we figure out that feeling of happiness? I want joy. Happiness is temporary. It comes and goes. But joy, that's what got me back up here. That's what got me excited about the possibilities. Another P. Who am I as a person? Write these down and remember it, because this is where your joy starts. This is where your happiness erupts. Who are you as a person? What's your name? What do you actually consider characteristics that are positive? What are you passionate about? The likelihood that any one of you in this audience, I could pull up here and ask you, come up here and speak about what you're passionate about. After you get over the fact it's a fear, again, of falsely acquired thoughts, you would get up here and you'd be amazed because you're passionate about something. Once you realize what your passion is, look at people that are having a problem with that. I know I'm very passionate about people being happy and excited about life, getting up and smiling, being better than they are today than they were yesterday. That is a problem for a lot of people, an opportunity for improvement, and I'm passionate about that. So if I put those two things together, then I see people prosper. That right there is what I forgot, because that made me pee one more time. Because that's what makes me prosper. That is my purpose. And when I have a purpose, there are possibilities. And when there are possibilities, all of a sudden doors open and people smile and they're happy to be here and you're happy to be around them. That's what makes life happy. So if you're missing that happiness and you don't understand, why am I not happy? Who told you you were going to be happy? Who told you that? And why are you asking somebody else anyway? You have the opportunity, the possibility to follow your passion, help people prosper, and joy comes from that. Because in your purpose, you're productive. And when you're productive, your possibilities are endless. A lot of times, we think about what we're going to be remembered by. And I can guarantee you, my name etched on here, after my days are over, I want to be remembered than something bigger than this. And if somebody told me earlier, there's a wonderful mother and daughter in the audience today, and they told me, what I learned here, we're taking back home, and we're going to teach them. It gave me goosebumps. Because that is what we do. I know I won't change the world, but my God, I don't know if I might change the person who does. And I'm not just talking about in a good way. Do you realize the things that we can do to put people to their grave because we've done it in a bad way? If you're toxic, change it. If you think things are impossible, change that. That starts today, that starts now. A lot of times I ask people, what is your vision? And unfortunately, that little person in your head talking, they're still seeing something that's impossible. Everything that we put our energy into is all the things we can't do, didn't do, don't have. Most of the time I see people that are irritated, agitated, the people that you don't want to say good morning to because you look like you're going to get your head bit off, those. The ones that don't hold the door open for you. I'm not mad at them, because when I see all of those things and they're angry and they're irritated, I see somebody who is empty because they think that it's impossible to change. So then we also see that with depression. If we work through depression and people say, I'm no longer depressed, well, why am I not happy? Well, we just conquered one battle. I don't need you to think because we get over depression and sadness that all of a sudden we pull the curtain and there's happiness. But now there's the possibility of that actually erupting. And so I ask people, we first have to get rid of the thought that everything is impossible. That's just the first step. That gives us a nice clean slate to start again with those purposes in our life. And all of a sudden now we say, I'm possible. You can take that same thing and look at it a completely different way. What is it that you want to change, and why haven't you changed it? Which goes back to the falsely acquired thoughts. If you look at that, anybody have any automatic negative thoughts? Did you wake up this morning with any? Dr. Amen's study showed that we have 300 automatic negative thoughts before we even get in the car to go to work. Because I knew what I was doing, I went ahead and asked some friends and my mom to do that, and they got pretty high. We can go from everything from a bad hair day to the weather to the air in our tires to the price of gas to what the house looks like. And if you constantly are doing that, do you think you feel good by the time you get to work? Those are those other people, not in here, the other people, not any of you guys watching this, but just us, that actually don't realize that everybody else on the road is mad and upset because they've sucked all their energy out before they even got in the car. So what if we change that? And you say, I am possible in this world to have possibility. It's interesting, I talk about vision, and sometimes people are still not convinced that your vision cannot change your future. It cannot do anything different. But every single minute of the day, you're visualizing something. Why? And what? It was really, really interesting because I had a patient that I've been seeing for quite some time, and he told me he was visualizing his life at 5. At 5? Like, what were you visualizing at 5? And he said there was this infinity pool that I could look out of my backyard. There was this huge house in which I lived in. And not only was the house huge, it was clean. And when you walked in, you were happy. On top of that, I had friends, good friends, friends that were there, friends that picked me up when I fell down, people that called me because I was silent, because that's what friends do. I was happy. That was a happy place. I said, but 5? How do you even know? You were visualizing this at 5. That was the audience out in the world cheering. And he said, I remember I was 5 because that's the year my father got married to my stepmother. See, my mother left me and my father. I don't know where she is or why she left me or what was wrong with me that made her leave. But I started visualizing when I was 5 because my stepmother came into my life. And what I remember is opening my eyes, remembering the shoes she wore that she had stepped on my throat. I remember being in the closet and being alone and covering my eyes and knowing that if I did not visualize something other than what I was trying to live through, I would die. And I knew that isn't what somebody at 5 was supposed to do. His visualization got him through something. It's not what the vision is, it is what the vision does. There are times that you have visualized getting through the things that you were going through. And please make sure you say going through, not stuck in. People know that are around me, they'll get slapped for that, or kicked or pinched or whatever I'm in the mood for. You're going through it. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm stuck in this rut. Well, you keep saying it, guess what? Your brain's going to believe it. Don't build a house where you need to pitch a tent. Think about those rough times. Prom and the sty in your eye, right? I am never going to live through this. First boyfriend breaks your heart. That embarrassing moment in the store. We'll never get past that. Guess what? Keep telling yourself and you never will. What do you see yourself doing? What is the next step? All those times that you didn't think you could get through something and you did. Your vision gets you through. Your efforts make that possible. So when I think about this individual, what kind of thoughts do you think he has? What kind of things do you think we're trying to defeat in session? Anybody relate to any of these? What does that mean? It means that we have some opportunities for improvement. And we need to not only get rid of the physical fat that we're having a lot of conversations about this weekend, but we need to get rid of the emotional fat, those falsely acquired thoughts. They weigh you down up here. They don't give you any room to be functional. We have to figure out, how do we deal with those? Heck, where did they come from? In the midst of all of this year, I ended up just being stalled on my book. And part of that probably had a purpose to it, because throughout the book, Stinking Thinking, I talk about people getting rid of fat or getting rid of weight. Oh, we need to lose weight. We need to be healthy weight. We need to do this. And then that was good that I waited, because this year I had a patient who was 68 pounds, full-grown female, 68 pounds. And I thought to myself, she got rid of weight. Doesn't mean she's healthy. It definitely does not mean she's happy. And so I took the word weight out of everywhere in the book, and I talked about fat. Yeah, all of us have some, and we require some. It's going to be in there. But excess fat, excess emotional withdrawals are not healthy. You cannot stay in a healthy state and have emotional fat fill your brain. And these are some of the things that I hear people say. I can't change, really? But who told you that? I'm never going to be loved. Who told you that? And most of the time when I ask people that question, they tell me somebody 10 or 15 years ago. So I have to ask you, who the heck has been telling you it since then? So we have to change that, but first of all, we have to figure out, where did it start? All of this excess stuff, where did it start? And I can guarantee you, we did not get pushed out of the womb with these thoughts that we have that we feel are always there. We didn't get pushed out of the womb knowing how to do a squat, and we didn't get pushed out of there thinking these thoughts. Okay? But every once in a while, what we have to realize is, wow, this is different. But I couldn't stay where I was. At some point, you have to realize we might have excelled at our capacity. But then we go to places like this, and when we leave, we realize our ceiling is now our floor, because we have excelled and realized we have released enough fat to put room to take it to the next level. How do we get to the point that these are no longer our truths? First of all, you have to decide, what do you want to be your truth? I will tell you, you're going to have a very difficult time having a new truth if you're trying to drive in the direction while looking out of your rear view mirror. If you want to change your future, then stop living in your past. To make your future, we have to see in the future, which means we need what? Vision. What do you want life to look like? If you don't like it, what about it do you want to change, and why is that important to you? Are you important to you? Because your vision will not only get you somewhere, but it'll get you through some of the places that you don't like being. So it's a bigger, way bigger than anything that we see around us, because we don't realize there is always somebody watching. How many people had somebody come up to them and they were just excited to see you? You had no reason why, but you got excited too. Because somebody was watching you. And they're actually happy. There's this vicarious learning that comes from seeing your success. I feel like I know some people just watching them grow on Facebook. Just had a lady who's in here just told me she's going into the service, and that was her goal last year, and guess what? She's there. That kind of stuff is awesome. Be your awesomeness. And so the other part of this presentation says, I want to challenge those falsely acquired thoughts, or that falsely acquired thinking you have. And so I went to the experts to figure out, why do we keep the crap in our head even though we know it's crap? So I got a panel of experts, my 12-year-old son and his group of football players, and had a little birthday party, and I started asking them the weird questions. My son doesn't like me asking them, just so that I can get that insight. And so I started asking those guys. I said, why do you guys think that people choose to have negative thoughts in their head all the time? Like, why do they keep thinking about bad things that make them feel bad, that make them sick? And after an awkward pause, a lot of them looked at me pretty oddly. And my son says, Mom, I think it's like ants. Now, mind you, he probably does remember me talking about automatic negative thoughts, but it was interesting because he had got consequences for not cleaning the counter just the week earlier because we got ants. You have to kind of focus. And so he left a cereal bowl out there, and one Cheerio in that cereal bowl, those ants will find it. No different than that one part of your body that you just can't get over, that the ants will find it. And he says to me, Mom, I think it's like on the counter. You don't really see the ant till somebody says something about it, then all of a sudden you see all the rest of them. Wow. Somebody can give you a compliment, and in the opportunity that you have to bring yourself up and take that and let it compliment you, you act like it's a hot potato, throw it across the wall, put a hole in it. Because we don't have anywhere to put it, because we still got all this fat in here. Instead, we take it, we hold on to it, put it into our emotional backpack, and he looks at me and goes, I don't know why anybody would do that. He goes, I just think happy stuff. I said, well, what are you happy about now? He goes, I'm happy I beat Joshua on the game. I said, but what if you didn't beat Joshua on the game? Do you think you'd have a happy thought? He goes, yeah, because I'd be thinking about the next game when I beat him then. Vision. The 12-year-old told me about vision. And that not only he had a plan, he had a goal. If I didn't get it this time, I was going to do better next time. And so we went to the football game, and I thought I would get a little bit more advice from some experts, so I asked some more knowledgeable individuals. The 12-year-old girls that were cheering on the 13-year-old, 14, 12-year-old, 8th grade boys, right? And so 2 little girls were sitting next to me, and I asked them this question. I said, if you had 2 helmets that you could put on, and one of them would allow you to have nothing but good thoughts and memories for the rest of your life, but you still might have problems, or the other one that was just filled with all of the painful and hurtful memories, but you would have no problems no more. And it was interesting because they looked at me and they kind of frowned, and then they looked at each other, and she looked at me and she goes, that has to be the stupidest question I have ever heard. And I had to pause because I wasn't sure which one she was referring to. And she said, if all I had around me were positive memories, wouldn't I want that? Because it would get me through any problems that I encounter. And then I go to work the next day and I watch 40 and 50 and 30 and 20-year-olds putting on their black helmet of negativity and choosing to keep that on. Why is that? What are you surrounding yourself? Did you learn that? Is it the people around you? Why did you choose that one? Why would you continue to choose it? So I ask people, is it physical or is it emotional? Because when you put that negative hat on, you are stressed, and you cannot be healthy if you stay in a state of stress. And so I ask people, your day-to-day life, that stress, those challenging thoughts that you have, is it physical stress or is it emotional stress? Because our body was built to handle physical stress, not ongoing emotional stress. People say, oh, I don't know which one it is. Well, I'm going to show you. Remember we talked about public speaking. Somewhere in 1977 they did a survey, said public speaking was the scariest thing to do. It was even scarier than death, so apparently, I'd rather be up here than die. But other people have different, thoughts about that. So I'm going to show you the difference between emotional stress and physical stress, so that next time that you're in stress and you have those automatic negative thoughts and all of those fat cells going on in your head, you can now realize my body's doing something to help me. Because under somebody's seat, there's a little dot, and if you're on that seat, you'll be coming up here, and you'll stand up here in front of your peers, people that love you, so don't worry about it. And then I'm going to have a math problem up here. We'll put, 500, and I'm going to have you count backwards by about 7. And everybody in the audience is going to be looking at you like this. Go ahead and fill under your seat. Who will it be? Does anybody feel stressed? Can anybody tell me what the physiological reaction is that is happening in your body right now? Really? Heart racing, my armpits are tingling, I got a little bit of sweat. I'm like, no way, I'm not doing that. I'd rather die. Nobody has a dot under their desk. Nobody has a dot under their seat. What you just experienced was physical stress. Nobody was in danger, even though you felt like it. Nobody was going to die. That feeling that you had is what we keep our bodies in. You can't heal when you live in stress. De-escalate, I'm serious, nobody's coming up. It's just me. Now I want you to think about what just happened to your body. Because you cannot have a feeling if you do not have a thought. And that physiological reaction that just happened in your body made you have anxiety, fear. And guess what? That was your fight mode. Your body said, hey, we need to increase our heart so that we can pump out blood. We need a little bit of adrenaline coming up so that we can be on point, because we're about to get up here and do something I've never done before, and we are going to fight and we are going to succeed. So the next time that you are in emotional stress, realize it's your body's ability that it still has to fight. It's preparing for battle emotionally so that it can get you through it, not paralyze you when you're in it. If you think about a really exciting moment, some of you guys went to Universal and you go to haunted houses right now. There's people going. They're going to pay big money so that they can experience what you guys just did. And we didn't pay anything. That'll be $69.99. Thank you. You guys experience what people are going to pay for. So you can't have a feeling without a thought. Change the thought, you change the feeling. We just got excited because we were ready for whatever lied ahead. Emotional stress and physical stress. Physical stress means we are in danger. I haven't seen one of these lately. Okay? Fight, flight. That's it. It means to be temporary. Regardless if it's physical or emotional, if your body stays in there, you will not heal. So when you're sad and sick and empty, it's usually because we're holding on to emotional stress because of how we interpret it. Interpret it differently, you'll live differently. We'll try something else. What were some other things that they said people did not like? What would create emotional stress? Oh, immediate reaction. Some people actually got the tinglies, right? Oh my God, they're right in my face. But if you change how you think about it, it's not going to kill you. So you need to make it heal you. I've tortured you enough. I am so sorry. So now I will put you in a happy place. Without it, did we plan that? No. That's what happens when we have babies and happy thoughts and happy memories and they get sweet. Oh, now we're all happy, and there goes our happy hormone, right? The happy hormone comes in, and this is a visual. All I gave you was a visual, and it changed how you felt. Change what you see, and you'll change who you'll be. Vision is important. Fat, please understand, we have to have balance. If you have none, you walk into somebody that's narcissistic. If they have no fat, we have an anorexic. We don't want to go either one of those ways. So what I'm going to ask you guys and what I want to leave you with is, what surrounds you? Because we will become our environment if it isn't healthy. So a lot of times I talk about toxic environments. Make sure you are in a healthy environment, one that helps you, heals you, not that hinders you or hurts you. You know what those toxic aromas are. People that fill you with toxic smoke. It smells like a bad diaper. Get out. Why do you stay? And then I'm going to ask you, what do you smell like? When somebody's around, do they want to be around you? Prolonged negative thinking is harmful to your health. I wonder, what did you put on this morning? Did you put on some bad memory bubble bath in there? Some long-lasting painberry and hurt mist? Or maybe some quick-absorbing self-loathing oil? Because you will give off what you have on you. What are you going to wear? What did you spray on today? If I come hug you, do I know that you feel powerless? What I had to realize is that I have to come up with whatever fragrances that I can spray in this world to that individual we talked about earlier. All of these things, we have to change them. Oxytocin is what happened when you guys seen the elephant and you seen the two little dogs. Oxytocin, that's our love hormone. It's what actually comes out when we hug each other, when we smile, when we set vision and goals. That's why you get excited when you do it, because you're releasing oxytocin. What I realized is I was giving out more than I was receiving, and that prevented me from seeing my vision. And so my bubbly, blessed, beautifully balanced cologne that I put on every morning, it was empty. Check to see what it is you want to wear, because what you wear is what you pass on. I want to say thank you to the people in my life that sprayed me with sunshine and made me realize that when I got silent, it was time for them to spray me with their sunshine. Make sure that you are giving somebody today a spray of joy that fills your life with laughter or bubbles or whatever you know they're missing. Because those fragrances are the things that make our life worth living. They're what make us smile. They're what make our happy hormone make possibility and promise. Thank you guys for sharing one day in my 16,534 days, and I hope you have an amazing rest of the weekend, an amazing life. Thank you.